A little girl opened the door to her parents' bedroom in the middle of the night. "Dad, I had a bad dream," she said. Her father blinked his eyes and sat up in bed, leaning on his elbows. The digital alarm clock glowed red in the darkness. It was 3:33 a.m. "Do you want to climb into bed and tell me about it?" he asked. "No, Dad," came the reply. The oddness of the situation made him wake up more fully. He could barely make out his daughter's pale form, outlined in the light from the doorway. "Why not, sweetie?" he asked. The little girl began to cry. "Because in my dream, when I told you about the dream, the thing wearing Mommy's skin sat up," she whined. For a moment, he felt paralyzed, unable to take his eyes off his daughter. Then he felt the covers behind him slowly beginning to shift. One night, an 8-year-old girl was sitting at home, watching television with her mother. Suddenly, the screen began flickering and the image of a ghostly woman in red inexplicably appeared on the TV. She was holding a small sign that was covered with words scrawled in red ink. It read, "This is a special announcement. Parents, please send your children to bed immediately." The mother was worried and told her daughter to go to bed. The young girl protested, but the mother remained firm. She grabbed her daughter by the arm and led her into the hallway. The girl meekly walked up the stairs to her bedroom and the mother returned to the living room. When she looked at the TV again, the woman on the screen was holding a new message. It read, "Please wait." The mother sat patiently on the sofa, waiting for the special announcement. After 5 minutes passed and nothing happened, she began to get bored. Just then, the woman on the screen displayed a new message. The writing was tiny and very difficult to read. The mother inched closer to the TV, trying to make out the words. The sign read, "Thank you. Your children are now dead." The mother was horrified. She ran upstairs and burst into her daughter's bedroom. She found the young girl lying in bed with the covers pulled up to her neck and breathed a sigh of relief. As she watched her daughter sleeping, the mother noticed that something was wrong. The blankets on the bed were not moving. Her daughter wasn't breathing. Slowly, she walked over to the girl's bedside and pulled the covers. She recoiled in horror and began screaming. On the pillow lay her daughter's severed head. Her body was nowhere to be found. More than 500 children died that night. The police couldn't trace the strange television broadcast and the woman holding the sign was never identified. Charles found the old book when he was 12 years old. It was stuck in behind an old bookcase in the attic of his house. The cover of the book was missing and so were some of the pages inside. It was a book of frightening ghost stories, but without the cover, Charles could never been sure if the stories were real or just made up. Lying in bed at night, Charles would read the stories quietly to himself. They terrified him, but for some reason, he couldn't stop himself from reading each one again and again. His heart would be pounding and his breath would catch in his throat, yet he still felt unable to put the book down. There was only one illustration in the book, a solitary strange photograph in the middle pages. Charles could never bear to look at it. Something about the photo unnerved him, but he found himself staring at it for hours. He never understood why the photograph held such a strange fascination for him. There was nothing in the picture that should cause him such fear and dread. It merely showed an empty metal staircase leading down into darkness. Could it be the fear of something or someone lurking in the darkness? Perhaps it was the fact that the rusty metal steps looked as if they were covered in blood. For some reason, the photo terrified him so much that he finally reached breaking point. He ripped it out of the book and threw it in the trash. Charles thought that would be the end of it, but he found that he was unable to get the picture out of his mind. When he fell asleep at night, he would see the empty metal staircase in his nightmares and he always woke up drenched in a cold sweat. The strange photo haunted him for years. As he got older, he would often be reminded of the photo and then the nightmares would start again. It was as if what he had seen in the photo could never be unseen. Walking home from college one night, Charles took a shortcut through a dark alleyway and came upon a scene that seemed all too familiar to him. Up ahead, he could see the same rusty metal staircase that had haunted his dreams for so many years. Charles felt a chill go up his spine and he had the sudden urge to flee. But his curiosity got the better of him. He had to find out why the staircase had disturbed him so much. Charles approached the staircase cautiously, staring down into the darkness that lay below. In his terror, his mind began to recognize strange shapes in the pitch black. He could hear odd sounds and moans coming from underground. As Charles stood at the top of the stairs, he began shaking with fear. He was about to turn and leave when he heard something strange. A whisper or a low groan. He looked down and started screaming,